Is the reason the economy seems to be breaking down right now because we're in the midst of a new world order. Now, 2022 is turning out to be a very turbulent year for investors, and although there seems to be a lot of surface level problems right now, like inflation, stagflation, interest rate hikes, could there be something bigger going on in the background? Ray Dalio is well known for being one of the world's most successful investors. He's built the world's largest hedge fund and amassed a personal fortune of billions of dollars. Now, Ray has spent the last few months trying to educate the world on this changing world order, and he's created an excellent 45-minute video, which I'll link to below, which has now had over 11 million views in just a couple of months. But in this video, we're going to take a look at the key principles and also hear from Ray Dalio himself as what do we do and where should we put our own money. And so we'll be looking at the key idea behind the changing world order. Then we'll look at the one key principle that seems to repeatedly happen when a superpower has reached its peak. And then we'll finish with where to invest. In such uncertain times, how are we supposed to invest to protect our wealth? As always, if you do enjoy anything in the video, then drop a like. Always appreciated. Okay, so first up, Ray Dalio believes we are in the middle of a new world order. So, what is the big idea? Ready? Let's do this.
Over my roughly 50 years of global macroeconomic investing, I've learned the hard way that the most important events that surprised me did so because they never happened in my lifetime. These painful surprises led me to study the last 500 years of history for similar situations, where I saw that they had indeed happened many times before, with the ups and the downs of the Dutch, British, and U.S. empires. And every time they did, it was a sign of the changing world order.
So the key message is that essentially everything we're going through right now, this record sustained low interest rates to inflation, stagflation, record amounts of money printing, has all happened in the past, and it's a cycle that just keeps repeating. Now, the problem is that most times it takes greater than one lifetime. So individually, we never get to experience it and learn the lessons ourselves. It always appears brand new. However, Ray Dalio went back and studied the last 500 years of empires, and what he found was a recurring set of principles and patterns that just keep repeating. Now, next up, there appears to be one key principle which happens every single time, which then leads to the massive inflation. Take a look.
Since the beginning of time, when governments spent much more than they took in taxes, and conditions got bad, they ran out of money and they needed more. So they printed more. A lot more, which made its value fall and made the prices of most everything, including stocks, gold, and commodities, rise. That's when I first learned the principle that when central banks print a lot of money to relieve a crisis, buy stocks, gold, and commodities because their value will rise and the value of paper money will fall. This printing of money is also what happened in 2008 to relieve the mortgage-driven debt crisis, and in 2020 to relieve the pandemic-driven economic crisis, and it almost certainly will happen in the future. So I suggest that you keep this principle in mind.
And so the key principle that seems to keep repeating is at the end of a major cycle, when everything starts to break down, there is always a mass printing of the currency. This then in turn causes the price of stocks, gold, and commodities to rise as the value of the paper money begins to fall. But interestingly, there was no mention of real estate. And the inflating asset prices have definitely been something we've all experienced over the last few years, but this then causes a bigger divide between the rich and the poor, as many people who can't afford to buy the financial assets just get stuck with the small amount of money they do have being eroded away in a bank. Now, as we're currently seeing this big asset bubble pop and begin to contract, the question then becomes, so what do we do with our money? And so to finish up, here is Ray Dalio himself explaining where to invest in the times of a changing world order.
First thing is you realize that holding cash and dead assets is a bad thing. So a lot of money is in cash because people think that cash is the safest investment. But they are measuring that in the amount of money that they get, nominal returns, and they say it doesn't wiggle much. But think about it. It's lost, as of the most recent statistics, 8.5% over the last, inflation is 8.5%, and they receive virtually no interest rate in cash. And so there was an 8.5% loss of buying power as a result of inflation. And so psychology should change and is in the process of changing to realize that you have to think in terms of buying power, not the number of dollars you have. And you have to think how much is your buying power. And so the worst thing is to be in cash. Like I say, cash is trash, and to be and to be out of the bonds. The next thing is to have a diversified portfolio of assets. The diversification means some assets that are inflation hedge prone. For example, you're better off to own an inflation index bond than a regular bond. And it could be other assets. Some people would say something in terms of cryptocurrencies, or it might be those other assets.
All the problems in the economy right now could be being caused by a bigger trend, as Ray Dalio calls a changing world order. A new world order happens on average across a 250-year span with a 10 to 20-year transition period. And today, it looks like China is on track to become the next global powerhouse. Now, one of the recurring themes that seems to happen in this transition period is that the central bank has to print an avalanche of new money to fix all the systemic problems that are breaking the economy. This then leads to financial assets being pumped up as the value of the currency begins to fall. And according to Ray Dalio, the best places to invest are stocks, gold, commodities, and index-linked bonds. And he's also a big fan of building a diversified portfolio, which now includes crypto. And he reiterates that the worst places to invest are regular bonds and cash. So there you are, guys. Hope you enjoyed. What's your thoughts on this changing world order? Does this explain all of the problems that are going on in the economy right now? Let me know below. But for now, just to say, if you did enjoy anything in the video, then drop a like, and a big thank you to everyone who does. If you haven't yet subscribed, click below and join us. Got some great videos coming up that you don't want to miss. Okay, cheers guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.